So, that was salsa. I was going to have a video of myself, all by myself on a beach doing salsa, but my friends decided to volunteer here today for you. So, hey, I'm so happy about that. I'm not going to make you go through this, or will I? You want? Yeah? Yeah? All right. Go ahead.
Hoo ha! Hoo ha! Hoo ha! Hoo ha!
And, well, you might think this is a tropical vacation I was on, like in Cuba somewhere. But believe it or not, this is Fogo Island in Newfoundland. Yeah, I'll dance anywhere. I will salsa dance anywhere. So I'd like to tell you a little story about how I came to form a Facebook group called Salsa in St. John's, and how it totally changed my life and touched the lives of a whole lot of people from all around the world. First, a little background though. This all started because I was having a bad day. I had just finished off a 2-year, really intense nursing degree program, and I started a pretty good job. But all I did every day was work and go home and watch TV and go to bed and get up and go to work. I had no life and no friends, and, well, every now and again I'd hang around with my teenage daughter, but, you know, that really wasn't enough. So I spent a whole fall and a whole winter living life like that, and then one day I woke up on my day off, and I realized I don't like living this way. So I decided I'd get up, get dressed as if I had somewhere good to go, grab a book, and head on to a cafe. This was in the middle of winter, remember, so it's hard to motivate yourself here in Newfoundland to do something like that on your day off, because it's usually short, dark, cold, dreary, depressing days. But this day, when I opened the door, it was sunny out. Things were already looking good, looking much better. So I'm headed down the road, driving down the road, and I happen to glance up at a billboard, and I see this salsa dance lessons tonight. Oh my God, I got so excited I almost drove off the road. Now, why in the world do you think I would be excited by that? You're probably wondering. This brought back some memories of a time a few years before that when I volunteered in Puerto Rico. And I heard Latin music, and I saw people dancing joyously to this music. And it was right after they'd gone through a disastrous hurricane. So, is it unusual to find salsa in St. John's? At that time in 2006, absolutely. It was really, really rare. There was very little opportunity for any Newfoundlanders to be exposed to this kind of tropical music and dance, except maybe on a vacation in Cuba. And maybe I should just define a little bit about what salsa is. You saw them dancing it here. Salsa evolved in Cuba in the 1920s, and it's generally a couple's social dance. And it spread throughout Latin America, and then in probably around the 1970s, it exploded into a worldwide phenomenon. So pretty much now, today, every country pretty much in the world knows what salsa dancing is, and there are enthusiasts all over the world. But it's not your typical Newfoundland pastime. Most Newfoundlanders don't know what salsa is, or didn't know what it is. Try bringing salsa to Newfoundland. We're known as an Anglo-Saxon culture. We have fish and chips. We're known for Celtic music. We're known for what's known as screech-ins and George Street. So yeah, try bringing salsa to this environment. It's pretty challenging. And now, here it was. And I went to salsa that night, and I was the first and only student that night. But I was hooked. I went every single week. So in that first year, slowly word got around, word of mouth mainly, that there were salsa lessons here in the city. And people started to join. And we got a kind of a small core group of dance enthusiasts, mostly from Newfoundland, but some people from across Canada and around the world started to join us. Now, we were starting to get a little bit tired of just lessons. We wanted to dance all the time. We wanted weekend lessons. We wanted weekend salsa, sorry. So what could we do? There was nowhere to do this. A few of us decided to volunteer our houses to have house parties. But now remember, we only knew each other at lessons once a week, pretty much. We didn't know each other outside of that. How did we let each other know where the next house party would be? Facebook was the answer. I volunteered to make us a Facebook group that would help us to connect and communicate where our next events would be held. Now that's where things started to get really interesting. Our core group of dancers joined, and I made the group open to the public, and all of a sudden numbers started to go way up. And I noticed that a large majority of the people joining were international people who were living here in our province. Now, incidentally, I had my first challenge of a language barrier at this time. I originally called the group Salsa in St. John's Locations TBA, to be announced. Okay, so if you're new here and your language is not, English is not your first language, you might misunderstand that. And some people mistook it to be the name of a building or an address, TBA. When I realized this, I quickly changed the name of the group simply to Salsa in St. John's to prevent anyone else from driving around in a taxi searching for TBA. Yeah. So we had some real growth in our numbers happening finally. We had more people coming out to our house parties, and we outgrew the house parties really fast. My house is not big enough for over 100 members. After that first year, that's what we had. So, of course, now we had some numbers, so we started being able to find places willing to take us in on a weekend. So we had some public venues come on board. More lessons started. There was more instructors, more opportunities. We formed connections with various businesses throughout the community. And there was a natural progression towards our events got bigger, so we were able to offer them as fundraisers for various nonprofit organizations. Now, throughout this, I continued to learn salsa, or try to learn it, and there were a lot of Latin Americans who came to our salsa dancing, and, well, they showed me a lot of the regional variations of the dance. As well, I met my boyfriend through salsa dancing. Now, he's been a really great supporter of my efforts with this group and this community. First of all, he helped me to understand the music more. I'm not Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I'm Newfoundlander. So it was fairly new to me. So it was really great that he could teach me how to tell the great salsa music and the great artists. And then I could start making playlists and help out with some DJing. But more importantly, he actually helped me to understand how our community was starting to evolve into something more than just about salsa dancing. One day he told me that when he attended the events that we were promoting or planning, he felt like it was a little piece of home had come to Newfoundland. It almost made him homesick, but it made him feel, even more importantly, more welcome and more a part of the community and more connected to other people, both locally, local dancers, and people from around the world who shared some of the common interests and common problems and culture shocks. So it became a very supportive atmosphere. Looking back to around 2008 when I made this Facebook group, I can see a direct link between our group, the time period, and our international community was starting to increase here in our province. And it's continued to increase more quickly than ever it had before. Now this is one of the events that we planned for Multicultural Week. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. And in this picture, there's actually only 2 Canadians that I can identify. Everyone else is from various places throughout the world. There might even be someone here today who's in this picture. Thank you for letting me use the picture. So here we were trying to promote a dance that was known around the world, and at the same time, there were people coming here from other places who were seeking out social opportunities where they could fit in and belong, learn a little bit more about our culture, meet local people, and also make the transition a little bit smoother to living away. Our salsa community fit that bill perfectly. This is another fundraiser we had, and it was actually for a Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation, and it was hosted by another local business, the first time they had ever decided to do a dance like this in this area. Phenomenally successful, people from all over the world. But can you imagine the look on some people's faces when they come into a Newfoundland setting and see a salsa party like this? I've heard people come in and go, oh my God, there's salsa here. I had no idea. This is so cool. And as well, I've seen people, maybe their first time coming to Newfoundland and coming into an event like this and recognizing their own language being spoken. And it's just amazing. It's such a phenomenon to see people come together and connect in such an unlikely spot. So the fact that there are people coming here from Newfoundland and supporting this and helping this to grow, a lot of the people volunteer and help us out. But the population that comes are transient. So that's presented one of our challenges. So it's keeping this community alive. Is that most of the people that come from away are students, and they're only going to be here for a few years and probably move back to their home countries or another place for further study or jobs, or people who are here on job contracts, temporary job contracts. So every time I decide that I think I need a break now, I'm going to step back, the group is big enough, it can sustain itself. The semester ends and another semester comes and a bunch of people leave, and I think, oh God, no, there might be more people who don't know about salsa. I got to get on Facebook again and send out some more messages and events. And yeah, so I'm totally addicted to this. So we also encourage local people to come in and dance with us. So last year, International Day of Dance, one of our local salsa lessons back in the beginning when I started, and they're still together today. I'm going to end on this one here. I think I'm running out of time now. No, and this just embodies. It's hard to tell you what the salsa community is, but this is it. So what does this mean for you? Perhaps you live in a small community where salsa might seem impossible, but with a social networking tool like Facebook, I challenge you to form a group, share your passion, and see if you too can start a community. Thank you.